the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
It's Jamal Bright with AVNation with an AVNation special talking about hardware as a service. And with me is Omer Brookston. Omer is the CEO and co-founder of Xyte. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for having me today.
Actually, thank you. Omer is in Israel, has a long history in the AV industry. He and I have got some joint friends at a couple different control companies. Omer, you and I were talking before we started recording, and one of the things in general is kind of as a service, AAS, right? And I don't care what the letter you put before that is whatever, but that's kind of taken over the industry in general. Xyte talks about hardware as a service. So talk for a second about what exactly Xyte does in relation to this new as a service or AAS model taking over AV.
Right. So first of all, anything as a service, commonly refers as XaaS, right? Anything as a service.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with you, right? We buy everything as a service. We buy Netflix and AWS and even Chevy Blades and coffee as a service. But we don't buy hardware as a service, right? And I don't think that everything we have in the industry today, people call hardware as a service, is in fact hardware as a service. Those are mostly leasing models that allow you to buy the same product for a monthly fee. And what Xyte does, Xyte is not a hardware company. We're not a service company. But Xyte is a software company, and we develop the technology stack that is required by hardware manufacturer to transform their business from one-time product sales into predictable recurring revenue sales, into as-a-service business models. And it is an enablement platform. It allows them to be successful in this transformation.
All right. So I want to take a couple of things here. Enablement platform is a little bit of a buzzword, right, or a buzz phrase, especially in Silicon Valley, right? So explain to folks exactly what you mean when you say it's an enablement service.
So to be able to successfully transition from selling products, right, to selling services or subscriptions, you need to be able to have full visibility to your products, right? And in reality today, the visibility the manufacturer gets to its value chain, usually stops at the distributor, right? And you have no visibility as a manufacturer to what's going on with your devices following that point, right? What Xyte allows you to do is to very easily connect all of your devices to the cloud, bring in your business partner, your distributors, resellers, system integrators, and your end user, but still have visibility to the entire process. On top of that, Xyte now allows you to configure what we call digital products. And those are subscription-based products, additions, features to your product that you can sell for a subscription. So it can start simple as selling a warranty or an advanced replacement agreement or some complementary services like that. It gets more interesting when you remotely toggle a feature, right? So how in our industry, we have 2, 3, 4 SKUs, which are identical the same, just another input. Just think about the complexity of managing that inventory on different continents, especially in these days, right? With components issues, right? And what we're saying, in many cases, the delta in bill of materials, is insignificant. So just have one SKU, and then later on, the customer can decide if he wants to toggle to enable that feature or not, right? That's how we buy software today, right? You buy Adobe Photoshop, and then you buy Adobe Lightroom, and then you buy Adobe XD, and you cancel your Photoshop subscription because you don't need it anymore, right? Think how amazing that would be for hardware. And it gets even more interesting when you're now transforming your business into either offering a complete model or a bundle of hardware, software, and services for monthly or an annual subscription. That's a true hardware as a service. Or even further than that, you start charging your customers based on usage, based on outcome, right? So if you use that device for 13 minutes or 30 minutes, you'll pay for those 30 minutes, right? Like we consume today, AWS, right? Like we consume so many other products today. We can do the same with hardware. How about meeting space as a service, right? I'll go to the enterprise and say, hey, I'll equip your enterprise spaces and you will only pay me a few bucks or a few cents for every minute that you use that meeting space.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. And I also think that the part where you're taking that one box and you're able to kind of configure it and make it whatever the client needs in that moment, or even maybe in that week or that month.
Mhm.
Talk for a second about how Xyte's, hardware as a service, and in the software side of that, you help, the dealers, the integrators, the folks that are installing this stuff and kind of designing this, how this model and how this idea kind of streamlines both the design process, but as well as the installation process.
Yeah, so cloud. Well, first of all, I think it's important to keep in mind that the hardware as a service, platform, and we call it CDMP, a Connected Devices Managed Platform. It is for hardware manufacturers and a system integrator. When I meet potential customers or partners, I will tell them that if they're a connected device manufacturer, they probably have a CRM in place to manage all of the customers' relationships. They have an ERP to manage their enterprise resources, but what they don't have is a CDMP. And Xyte is that connected devices management platform, once again, that enablement platform that allows them to do so. And for system integrator, I think cloud technology really unlocks new opportunities. So the beautiful thing is that when a hardware manufacturer and a vendor partner with us, not only they create new recurring and predictable revenue stream for themselves, but they also create new recurring revenue streams for their channels partners, right? So channels, system integrators can now engage with their end users in managed services agreement. The platform is built as a fully federated solution, meaning that I'm as a manufacturer, I can connect 1 million devices to the cloud. But my customers will only claim a subset of those devices that they own. And then a system integrator can engage in managed service agreements with several different customers. And if there's a global customer, right, with multiple locations over the globe, they might have a system integrator servicing them in Chicago, and a system integrator servicing them in Germany, and a system integrator servicing them in Tel Aviv, right? And that's the power of the cloud. You cannot do all of those things with an on-prem solution.
So I want to kind of pull on that thread a second, because you kind of laid out folks, regardless of where they were geographically. One of the things that has kind of happened inside the industry is the ability or the kind of the pull from the client side, saying, you know what, I have, let's say our headquarters happens to be in Paris, right? But we've got offices in London, we've got some in Milwaukee, and we've got one over in Singapore, and I kind of want all of these to look and feel the same. How does this type of technology help achieve that and kind of give those clients that ubiquitous, that kind of platform that they're looking for, that warm fuzzy feeling of walking into the conference room, regardless of where it is in the world, it looks and feels and acts the same?
Yeah, well, I think that that has been a long discussed term in the industry for many years. I remember that from 10 years ago, right? We want to create a new experience. So it is important to keep in mind, Xyte does not interface, or has nothing to do with the in-room experience, right? We're not looking to replace the system integrator. We're not looking to replace the user interface on touchscreen and so on. I personally think that this battle has been is over now, with Teams and Zoom pretty much taking most of the experience in those meeting spaces, right? And then you have custom for the larger venues, larger spaces, and so on. Xyte is about how you have one unified view in the cloud to be able to operate all of that. And I think that's another very important value proposition for system integrators, is that we allow hardware manufacturers to also offer their devices in a one centralized, single pane of glass, right? So system integrators in the same and end users, right, in the same platform, they can deploy, manage, and monitor devices by Zoom Rooms, by Crestron, by QSC, by BrightSign, Avocore, Lightware, AV Pro Edge, and others, all in the same platform. Because until recently, until Xyte, right, you had to use one cloud solution for one vendor, and then another platform on-prem for another vendor, and then something else that you made up for another vendor. Now you can have all of those in one place. And the benefit is, one of the biggest benefits for system integrators is that we make our open API available for them as well. So if they want to do some custom programming, if they want to connect some custom devices, they can always do so with the platform as well.
We talked about manufacturers. Obviously, they can work with you guys as far as developing new pieces of hardware to augment and have add-ons in the field. We talked about the system integrator. Let's talk about the folks that are actually live and breathe and touch this stuff and manage this stuff on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. These are the in-house integrators. These are the AV design and support staff in higher ed, in corporate. Where do you see this helping out when it comes to the tech managers and the IT managers?
Yeah, so I really do think that how does a service puts managed services front and center, right? It's about shifting from defense to offense, from shifting from customer acquisition to customer retention, right? So those are the people that have to make sure that their end customers are satisfied, right? Because we all tend to be very excited about as a service, but one thing we often forget is that if the customer is not happy, they will churn, right? And we want to keep the customer with us. So we have to, delivering exceptional customer experience and customer service is super important. So, some of the benefits for those tech managers is dramatically increase the remote servicing abilities, and early problem resolutions. We can remotely connect to a device, right? We can remotely analyze what is that troubled part. So we don't have to drive there and then figure out the problem, come back, take the part from our warehouse and drive back. We'll immediately know. We can administrate commands remotely. Think about what happens when a customer escalates a ticket to the system integrator. Maybe it will get escalated to the manufacturer support team. All of that can be done remotely now through the cloud. No more, go on site, connect over RS-232 USB, load some firmware, get the logs, drive back to the office, email me the logs. All of that is gone. Everything is done, through the cloud very, very easily now.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're talking about is regardless of whether that is, working with your system integrator, right, and giving them access there, or you are a tech manager, at a campus that is spread out, right, through miles or even different parts of the world. Here in St. Louis, Webster University is one of those locations or one of those universities that has. They do have campuses globally, like it is a legitimate, Webster University. I know in Austria and other parts of the world, those tech managers can manage that through the cloud. Really
absolutely. Good. And I just I'll add one very small, tiny detail, right, but makes a very big difference, right? In all the, other platforms in the industry, when a device goes offline or has some other issue, it goes out to one big spam mailbox, right? Yeah. That in reality, no one ever monitors, right? What we do, based on the location of that troubled device, we will route the incidents to the right queue in the ticketing system, ServiceNow, ConnectWise, Jira, and so on. And we will notify on their mobile through Slack, Microsoft Teams, or Google Chat, right, the right channel with those IT. So if you have a campus in Europe, they will go to the IT team in Europe because they will be the one, the system integrator. They will be the one fixing the problem, right? But if that issue is in St. Louis, right, it will go to the IT team in St. Louis because those will be the one that will be taken. I mean, it is super simple, right? But that's what, you kind of figure that's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is actually one of the smarts of it, that you can kind of geolocate the tech team that is actually going to fix it. Talk for a second, because some of the stuff folks are listening to this or watching this and go, okay, I kind of get where Xyte's coming from, but we do this over here with this software, we do this over here with this hardware. Talk for a second about what makes Xyte different from kind of the existing software and hardware ecosystems.
Yeah, so I think in reality, when you look at there are hardware companies, there are software companies. I'm not familiar with any other software, other platforms that allows vendors and system integrator to do what we allow them to do. It is by far the most, once again, I understand it's a little bit marketing, right? But it is by far, truly, the most powerful cloud solution in the industry, right? And I just encourage people, go and check out our API, go and check out our website, see what you can do with that. You can develop, a whole new set of business models, right? Based on the platform. It's way beyond than just another monitoring solution. In fact, monitoring is a very, very small part of what we do, Tim, right? It's there because you kind of need it, right? It's basic, you have to, but it's commoditized, right? And it's just there for the manufacturer, right? The enabling new commercial business model and enable new business approaches, right? It is something that no other platform out there allows the system integrators and vendors to do.
And that right there is it's it's a pretty big statement to say, you know, something that you've developed will allow new business models, new business platforms. But you know, if you go to the website, certainly, you know, you can see how it, you know, you guys can engage with that and help product developers, right? You know, programmers. Certainly, there's a lot of system integrators globally that are working on developing their own software. Certainly, they can check that out and say, okay, you know what, this is where this fits into our either existing platform or you know adding it to our roadmap. As we wrap up here, Omer, you know, why should manufacturers or even dealers start to engage with you guys in Xyte?
Yeah, but Tim, I think that hardware as a service encapsulates the greatest growth opportunity for hardware manufacturers and for system integrators. And I truly believe that companies that will successfully navigate this transition are likely to be in a very powerful position for decades ahead, right? This is the biggest thing going on in our world today. And Xyte puts the tool to do it, right? And you said before something about it's a big vision. I agree, it's a big vision. That's why we are backed by former Intel Capital and Sequoia partners, right? No, they're looking at a very, very big vision. That word, by the way, beyond the audio video industry, right? The audio video industry is great. You know, we started in the audio video, but I can tell you that we already have medical customers. We already have renewable energy customers. We already have, you know, industrial customers, right? And it's the same thing, right? The same vision of moving, you know, hardware into services. And Xyte is, you know, the one and the only platform today that allows hardware manufacturers to transform their products or their devices into services.
I want to point out something here that Omer, I mentioned the fact that he and I have a lot of mutual friends in the industry. Omer came from control, right? And which I still love control. It's my favorite part of AV. It's you know, it's right here, right? And you have grown up in the industry. You've grown up, you know, on that side, and have developed a rather unique and pretty powerful platform. So I just think it's cool the fact that you came from AV, but now you're taking that knowledge and expanding it even further. So congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Omer Brookston, if somebody wants to connect with you or Xyte, and how do they get started? You know, where do we go? Check
out our website, Xyte, xyte.io, and you can always email me directly, Omer, O-M-E-R, at xyte.io. I'll be happy. I'm always happy to meet, you know, good old AV guys.
All right, very good. Omer Brookston from Xyte for us, for AVNation. Go by our website, AVNation.tv. It's AVNation.tv. You'll find more interviews like this and a whole lot more. All that and more at AVNation.tv. It's AVNation.tv.